Okay, here we are for our mindfulness practice. This is a short practice, only a half an hour. And we're on to the topic of anxiety. For a lot of us, I did a meeting just today with another expert. She's a dietitian. And she said that anxiety was her first worst symptom. So, what I mean by that is, what is the first thing that popped up when you very first realized that it could be perimenopause? And for me, I went from having some anxiety. I do have an anxiety disorder that went from being fairly tolerable and not really intrusive to being very bad and trouble concentrating and crying fits and didn't want to drive anywhere, trouble sleeping, waking in the middle of the night, those kind of things. Anxiety, then, I've heard it again and again as being one of the top concerns. And you can see why we get a little desperate looking for help, especially when it interferes with our driving, work, and sleep, and maybe even reacting poorly or overreacting when something does go wrong. So that's our topic for today. And I'm going to lead you through a very gentle practice, guiding you and showing you how to work with your anxiety. And this is something I want to make very clear. We don't practice to get rid of how we feel ever. When you practice with that idea in mind, if I'm going to get rid of this problem that I have, you're creating like a conditioned attachment to that problem. And it actually becomes more likely you're going to notice it more and more and more. It's kind of like when you're dating and you say, I don't want a guy who's doesn't like dogs. Right? I don't want a guy who is against me keeping my job if I become a mother. Well, those are the guys you end up getting. You end up getting the guys that you are saying you don't want because the universe doesn't really hear the don't want part. It only hears you saying, this is what I want. I want a man. Okay. Something about dogs and something about work. So get really specific about what you do want. I do want to cultivate my inner peace. I do want to cultivate the ability to manage well. I do want to recognize when I'm having anxiety, and I do want to manage my anxiety in a way that works for my overall long-term well-being. It has to work for you. And this is where mindfulness can come in handy because you can do this while you're driving. You can do this while you're at the shopping mall or standing in line waiting or talking to your mother-in-law. Any of those things that normally will give you anxiety, you can practice. So we're practicing with mindfulness. Now we're on the fifth class. We've done feeling your feet, feeling your bottom, feeling your breath. You choose an anchor. When you're listening to recordings, one of the anchors you are using is the sound of my voice. So when I'm not talking, make sure that you come back to feeling your bottom on the seat. Squeeze your right cheek, squeeze your left cheek, squeeze your right cheek, squeeze your left cheek, and it creates this kind of wave back and forth. If you have trouble feeling your bottom, that's a really easy, gentle way to feel your bottom. If you don't want to do that, you can just feel your feet. You can wiggle your toes, lift your toes up and down, let them land back on the ground. Feel the bottoms of the feet on the ground. Or you can use your breath. You can put your belly or your hand on your belly. You could have your left hand up on your heart and feeling the breath, feeling the air moving in and out of the body. And the more you do that, just that grounding practice, the less anxious you will feel. Even if you still have the feeling of anxiety, it's less likely to feel like it's running rampant and going to take over. So coming back always to those grounding Those are like your touch points. You come back to the feet, the bottom, or the breath, or my voice. So I don't want you to try and create anxiety in your body if you don't feel anxious right now. We never want to create more of what we don't want. We want to focus on what we do want. It's very important working with mindfulness to focus on what you do want. What we develop is the skill of noticing. So let's just pretend you're waiting in line and you start to notice that you're feeling anxious. Maybe you're trying to mail a package and you're concerned you might run out of time. The invitation then is to breathe into that, really feel that anxiety. How does that feel in your body? And recognize that you're feeling anxious, maybe tightness in the chest, a lump in your throat. You might suddenly worry that you need to go to the bathroom, or feel lightheaded. So make sure you're breathing, filling the lungs, and let the exhale be long. Let the exhale be really long. Shorter inhale, longer exhale. The long exhale tells the body that you are not in need of being anxious, right? If you really were running from a bear, you wouldn't be able to take the time to have a long exhale. So tell the body through the breath that it's okay to calm down. And then maybe notice some of the thoughts you might be having. Oh, what if I run out of time? That's the future. It hasn't happened yet. You haven't run out of time. So maybe you're worried about running out of time and you recognize, okay, that's the future. And then you decide to do something. So you send a message to the person you are going to see next or the thing that you're going to do next. And you send them a message and say, I might be late. I'm waiting in line. Now the anxiety isn't dysfunctional. It's actually served a purpose. It actually helped you, which is anxiety's job. And then something like driving anxiety, it's very specific to that activity. And the practice is the same. How am I feeling? What's happening in my body? What kind of thoughts am I having? Am I breathing? Am I releasing all of my air? Am I hanging on to something? Are my hands in a relaxed posture or am I squeezing the steering wheel and white knuckling it? Because our body is very responsive. It's in a feedback loop. If we allow the body to sit in a posture that is a stressed out posture, which it is when you're squeezing the steering wheel, try and relax the hands. You're still on the steering wheel. You're still steering. Breathing in, breathing out. Maybe you feel lost. Perhaps you could use your GPS. If you don't have it, you could use a map. If you don't have that, you can just use your instincts and you'll get where you're going eventually. What I'm saying is a lot of those anxious thoughts are really, you know, not reality of what's happening right now. You are capable of driving still. You have been driving for a long time. If you've made it to perimenopause, you've probably been driving for 20 or 30 or 40 years. So give yourself that benefit of the doubt. Sometimes you can try laughing if you can find something funny to listen to on the radio. Gratitude is an excellent practice as well for anxiety. Just start counting. I have gas. I have a car. I have feet. I walk to my car. I have someone to drive for me. I'm getting where I'm going. I might be late, but I'm still going to show up. Um, really, the gratitude stuff can be anything. And you can repeat yourself too. If you've already said, I'm grateful for my daughter, you can say, I'm grateful for both my children, or, whatever it is. You can think of things to say. And gratitude is very grounding and it doesn't take long. And then once you do these practices, the practice itself becomes a habit. And once that becomes a habit, you'll start to rely on it and you'll be less and less anxious because you can think of it as like there are two wolves. When you buy into the anxiety and you feed the anxiety by going, oh, yeah, I am lost and I don't know what I'm doing and I am going to be late and I can't get my package, whatever it is, right? Focusing on those things that aren't working right now or that might not be working, because a lot of the time our anxiety is in the future. It's not happening now. When you come back to the future or come back to the present, you're thinking, well, feel your bottom, feel your feet, feel your breath. Come back to the moment. Be in the moment now. And those things will work out. You'll either get there or you won't. It doesn't mean that you don't do your part in the equation. I was late for a meeting last week. And I'd gotten stuck behind a car that had their blinkers on. And at first I wasn't concerned about it because I thought, well, whatever, right? I'm going to get there when I get there. And then I realized I was going to be late for a call. So I pulled over at my next convenient, safe time. And I made the video call from my phone and just let her know I was running late and I was stuck in traffic and I'd be home as soon as I could. So I dealt with it. I didn't let the anxiety win. Don't feed the anxiety. So you'll notice I'm going to start introducing more silence as we practice. I'm starting these with lecture because I'm giving you the chance to actually arrive, listening to me in a way that makes sense to our modern mind is me lecturing you on anxiety. So the practice now is going to be feeling the body, paying attention to those thoughts. And you might want to make sure that you have pen and paper handy. I like to just jot stuff down. So every so often when I am in a meditation, I'll think, oh, yeah, I have to call that person or I need to rebook that doctor's appointment or whatever it is. And then I can just write it down, you know, call Sue and then let it go because it's there. I'll look at it when I'm done. If you don't have that, sometimes you're thinking, okay, I'm trying to meditate, but I got to remember to call Sue. And the whole point to mindfulness is letting go of those thoughts, not dwelling or identifying with the thoughts. An anxious mind, a busy, anxious mind is usually a mind that has identified itself with those thoughts. I am my thoughts, and you are not your thoughts. Thoughts aren't necessarily random. I do believe that we can kind of pick up on the grander scheme of thinking, but our mind's job is to create these thoughts that are supposed to be working to keep us safe, and they don't work in modern times because we can't identify the threat even right now with things that are changing so quickly. We all have future shock, and we're dealing with new changes coming upon us all the time. Previous generations would have a decade to figure out the new thing. We have 2 days or 5 minutes. So you're not imagining the anxiety. The anxiety is real. The cortisol is surging in your system and telling your body that you're under threat and you need to protect yourself. Yet there is no threat. Threat right now, when you're safe, practicing with a mindfulness meditation doesn't exist. There's no threat right now. So you can let that go. Believing the anxious thought, let that go. You can't stop the thought from showing up. This is the meaning of that poem, The Guest House from Rumi. Every day is a guest house where you have visitors all day, a disappointment, a confusion, a difficulty. You know, these things just happen. It's just, are we going to follow that down the crazy train and make it more important than it is and have it ruin our day? Because we can just have bad day after bad day after bad day. And it's unnecessary. It's not based on what's happening. Most of us did have breakfast. Most of us will have something for dinner. Most of us have a bed to sleep in. Not everybody, but if you're listening to this, you've joined that membership, which means you have a credit card or some source of payment. So when you have that thought, oh my God, I feel so awful. I think I might die. That's one that I had a lot. You're going to ask yourself, okay, is that the present or the future or the past? And then identify, okay, so unless you're actually in a hospital bed actively dying, you're probably not dying, at least not today. So you can let that go. You don't have to dwell on that thought. Your your body is changing in perimenopause. It's changing. You're becoming a wise woman. Your hormones are changing. They're supposed to. The upheaval that you're feeling isn't imagined. When we have a sensation and we think, oh no, that's terrible and I hate it. We've now judged the sensation. We're judging ourselves. No wonder we're feeling anxious and threatened. We're threatening ourselves. When you feel a sensation and you think, well, that's unpleasant. Is it important? Is it serious? Do I need to see the doctor about it? I have a couple of painful sebaceous cysts right now. I need to talk to the doctor about that. She just needs to know that it's happening and confirm that that's what it is. But I didn't run to the doctor for a couple of painful sebaceous cyst acne spots. I'll find out tomorrow what she's thinking. And I'm very sure she's going to say that's acne. But my anxious mind would have me convinced I had skin cancer or something was horribly wrong. You see what I'm saying? And it's something that intellectually you can say, yes, I understand that. I just don't feel any better. And that's okay. It's the mindfulness practice that will get you into that place of feeling better because you're not going to feed that. You're not going to feed that thought. Find the part of your body right now that feels the most comfortable. Just do a body scan. Toes, feet, ankle, lower leg, knees, thighs, bottom, torso, chest, shoulders, arms, wrists, hands, fingers, neck, back of the skull, back of the head, top of the skull, face, chin, throat. And right now, my head feels pretty good. I have a little bit of low back pain again, but it's not bad. So focus on the part that feels good. You might say, well, none of it really feels good. What part's not hurting? Probably something. Your nose, your forehead, your arm. When we have discomfort and we focus on the discomfort, we create more discomfort. We become attuned to feeling and noticing and focusing on discomfort. So let's try finding different parts of the body that feel good. My fingers all feel good today. And my cheeks. My cheeks feel really good. I did a lot of smiling today. And try and feel your eyes. Feel your eyelashes and your eyelids. And if you have your eyes closed, you can look and see the vision behind your closed eyes. And if you notice when I stop talking that your mind wanders, remember, mindfulness training is like training a puppy. When we want the puppy to do something, our best hope of getting them to do that thing is to just gently bring them back. Gently bring your mind back, just like the puppy. An active, busy mind isn't bad and it isn't wrong. It just needs some training. A busy mind can be very creative and come up with a lot of solutions, or it can focus on things that you don't want to cultivate in your life, like problems. You don't want to focus on problems indefinitely because then you'll just see problems everywhere. Focus on what feels good in your body. See if you can feel your heart beating. You might be able to feel it by hearing the pulse. Sometimes you can hear it in your ears. If you can't hear anything and that starts to feel frustrating, come back to gratitude. If your legs work and you can walk, be grateful you can walk. If you can't walk and you need a chair, be grateful that you have a chair. If you need a cane, be grateful that you have the cane. Oh, I don't have a cane. I don't need a cane. But what if I did need a cane? Oh, that's the future. Can let that go. So a few minutes of practice now, feeling your breath, your anchor, your feet or your bottom, labeling whatever thoughts come up. Oh, that's tomorrow. Oh, that's the past. That's what I ate for lunch. Oh, call Sue, write that down. Back to your anchor. And feel frustrated. Remember the puppy, training the puppy. And sigh it out. You may be thinking, well, sitting here feeling anxious, how is that helpful? We're not cultivating the anxiety. You feel the anxiety and you say, that's what anxiety feels like. And then you hear the thought, I think I'm going to die. And then you remind yourself, anxiety is a feeling. It's just a warning that there might be something that you need to do. And in perimenopause, it's dysfunctional because it's coming in telling you there's a big threat when there is none. The biological changes that you're going through are normal. The increased anxiety is normal. Your body's trying to warn you because it is changing. We need to just feel it. Oh, there's anxiety. Is there something I need to do? Like call my friend, let them know I'll be late. If there's nothing to do and there's no cause for the anxiety right now, you say, thank you. Thank you for giving me that information that I'm feeling anxious and for the chance to have this human experience of anxiety. Keep feeling your breath. Hold yourself. Have a blanket. Comfort yourself through those feelings. We're not ignoring or detaching from how we feel. We're analyzing the thought so we can let it go, but we're embracing the feeling that you are having anxiety. And you can do a really gentle inquiry. Is there something that I need right now? You just ask yourself, is there something that I need to do? Is there some way that I can help myself right now? And sometimes when I've asked myself that question, I get the weirdest answers like, drink some juice. Okay. Have a bath. It doesn't seem related, but just sitting and reading a book or talking to a friend if you really like to talk, or even calling a busy friend and listening to what they did today gets you out of your own experience and into the wider experience of the big world that we're in. And no one ever died from anxiety. And if you're really struggling and you want more help, I can help you with that with private coaching. I have my myriad of tricks now that I've learned over the last 5 years, almost 7 actually. So we're getting ready to come out of the meditation shortly. And it's really nice to thank yourself. And to say namaste means the light in me sees the light in you. It means I'm honoring the spiritual nature of your experience on the planet. It means we're not in this alone. We're in this together. So thank yourself for bringing yourself to this practice and have some faith. Things are improving. You are getting better. This is getting easier and relief is coming. So my name is Jessica. I've been your host for today. And namaste. The light in me sees the light in you. May all of us everywhere be happy, joyous, and free.